The government is working on a mobile phone contact app to track our movements and those who we've been in contact with during the COVID-19 crisis. Google and Apple are also developing similar technology. We are joined by Tech Guide editor Stephen Fenech. Stephen, this is a crucial part of these three pillars that the federal government want to see in place before they really seriously start to ease restrictions around the country.
That's right, Tim. Yeah, the app has had a lot of talk during the week, both the government app and also the technology that Apple and Google is working on. They both basically work around the same principle where your smartphone's Bluetooth registers any contact with people around you. So if you're near someone for a minute or two or maybe longer, it will put them on a database and give medical authorities a list of people to contact if you or anyone else on that list contracts the virus. Now, this will only work if a lot of people use it. Just yesterday, Prime Minister Scott Morrison was talking about maybe making this app compulsory because he needs at least 40% of the population to adopt the app, use the app for it to be effective. Now, with Apple and Google's method, they're eventually going to make this technology part of every phone's operating system. So it's simply a matter, you don't even have to download an app. You just got to turn on something in the settings and you can take part. The other big issue, of course, people are asking about is privacy and security, which is a valid question. The government hasn't been very transparent about what that will look like. Apple and Google are saying that everything is done with random identifiers, so no one is identified, no one's number is kept on a list. The key that can even read the numbers is changed every 15 minutes. So they've been quite upfront about it. The government needs to assure people that the similar privacy would apply before people take it up. That's one thing. I'm seeing all these comments on social media about people not wanting to do it, and they're fearful that the government's going to continue to track them. They're not using GPS. It's not going to be anything like that. Ironically, the comments they're making are on social media that probably tracks them worse than this app ever will. So that's something to keep in mind as well.
Yeah, people are always conscious of Big Brother watching them and finding out things about them, so that, yeah, privacy is a huge issue. And look, the federal opposition are pushing back very hard on this, saying that look, they're very cautious about anything like this becoming mandatory.
Yeah, well, I think, though, you've got to consider this other point, though, is that for us to get back to normal, it's going to take a lot of us to cooperate. And part of that cooperation is using an app like this. Now, this app is not collecting personal information. It's simply using your Bluetooth on your phone, which is the short-range connection of your phone, to list other people that you may have come into contact with. As simple as that. They don't know your name. They don't know where you live. It's just your device, which is identified randomly on another list that's identified randomly as well. I think Scott Morrison, he likened this to national service. He said, we need to do this for our country. It could potentially save lives. So if you want to get back to the movies, you want to get back to meeting your mates at the pub for a beer, going to the beach, all those things we used to take for granted, then this is, I think, part of one of those things that we need to do.
Yeah, even have a barbecue at home, to be honest. I think, look, you know this space better than I do. I think 40% would be a marker that they're going to hit easily because people are starting to become desperate for things to normalise as much as they can.
I agree. I think that once the government has, and we're still maybe a week or two away from the app being even ready for us to use, and even by then, Apple and Google's technology will be made available to app developers as well. So there's going to be a whole selection of apps. There needs to be some direction from the government, though, on the privacy, as I mentioned. But I think this is step one towards getting back to normal life. And if I volunteer, I'm more than willing to volunteer to go onto this tracking app, because I know I'm pretty confident it's not going to track me personally. As I said earlier, you get tracked more on social media and even using Google than you would using this app.
Steve, I know NBN are dirty letters for a lot of people who are still struggling with ADSL and they're not getting the NBN that they had been promised. But a positive NBN story?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, the NBN has they've announced a $150 million relief package. so that struggling families, low-income households with school-aged children will be given plans. Even those that haven't even been connected to the NBN, they're going to be fast-tracked to get that connection, because it's not just about them saving money, it's about them having that connectivity. Like, the internet today is like electricity and water. It's an essential service. So being able to connect those families, also small businesses are going to come in line to having some assistance from the NBN. Even telehealth providers will be given faster connections from the NBN to allow them to do their jobs even faster and more efficiently. But it's all about trying to keep people connected, people in business, people at home who are working from home, and also maybe even schooling their children from home as well.
Apple, they've had a couple of roadblocks. They're not an organisation that would ever let that get in the way. Some big things happening there?
Absolutely, yeah. Earlier this week, they announced a brand new iPhone, the iPhone SE. This is their more affordable device. It's under $1,000, starts at $749, and has all the features you'd expect from a recent iPhone, but it includes, though, the flagship processor. So this new affordable phone has the same processing power as the top-of-the-line model. So for those customers who can't afford the $1,000+ price tag of the flagship iPhones, now have a choice of an even cheaper iPhone. The iPhone SE it's got a 4.7-inch screen. It's got a home button, and it's got a single lens camera that is aided by some amazing processing power to take some good images. So for those customers who can't afford that higher price tag for the iPhone 11 and the iPhone 11 Pro, now have another option.
It's extraordinary to see the growth and the resolution. Like, you're coming to us on Skype. Even a year ago, the images would have been so much more dusty, so to speak.
Absolutely, yeah. The improvement has been phenomenal. That's one thing about technology; it never stops moving. And we've even seen a glimpse, Tim. Or we just spoke about the iPhone SE. There's been some whispers around the internet. Some Bloomberg, I think, broke this story earlier this week, that the designs for the iPhone 12, which is the next phone due for release in September, we've heard reports that they've even leaked. There's been some renders and images of the new iPhone, the iPhone 12, which is supposedly going to be their new 5G device. So this is, it sort of looks like it's got a more flatter design, less curves, more flat edges, will be thinner than the current model as well. We were speculating a few weeks ago whether Apple would actually pull the trigger on this phone this year, or whether they would even maybe wait till next year. My gut's telling me that Apple's going to just steam ahead and release this phone in September as per plan. But those designs, I've put them on my website on Tech Guide, and they're floating around. It's a radical departure from the current design.
Yeah, we'll get on and have a look at that. On a much lighter note, you and Sen do a lot of travel, so you keep your Platinum 1 status intact with Qantas pretty easily. Now, you're lucky because they've given everyone complimentary status retention, but you're going to probably need it for another year because you're not going to fly for quite some time.
Yeah. I don't think we're going to see go overseas for quite a while. But no, that's good news that Qantas is going to look after us with keeping our status. But look, I'm hoping we get to go somewhere later this year. But no, my gut's telling me that it'll be 2021 before the passport gets stamped again.
All right, Steve, good to see you, and we'll chat next weekend.
Thanks a lot, Tim. Look forward to it.